I want to talk about one important change of pace, important change of attitude. Here is Trey Ying's. I can't show you this entire clip that he posted. It's important. This is important to watch. I'm not going to show you the whole clip because there's a lot of TOS in it. But Trey Yingst is the chief foreign correspondent at Fox News. He's been the Israel guy for Fox News for the past year. He's been in Israel for the past 12 months. Okay? And sometimes when the Israeli military allows him, he's been in Gaza. He has been dealing with the Israeli military censors for the past 12 months. He actually came out on October 8th, one day after the October 7 in memoriam things that people were doing, and posted this on his motherfucking. He is pro IDF. Of course, he's pro IDF. He very much is pro IDF. He posted this, which I think is very interesting. He said Palestinian journalists must be protected amid the war. Even the fact that he's saying amid the war gives you it clues you in on what his perspective is.
There are so many neighborhoods that are flattened. Palestinians that are internally displaced will simply have no homes to return to. And while we get a first-hand look at the destruction here, it's important to remember that Palestinian journalists do not have this access. They have been pushed to the south. Dozens have been killed. There's this false narrative about Palestinian journalists. More than 100 of them have been killed by Israel since the war began. And I take very few positions in the conflicts that we covered.
I'm not switching this screen because there's a lot of... Actually, maybe there isn't any TOS in this. I thought there was a hell of blood in this. Here, we can watch it.
There are so many neighborhoods that are flattened. Palestinians that are internally displaced will simply have no homes to return to. And while we get a first-hand look at the destruction here, it's important to remember that Palestinian journalists do not have this access. They have been pushed to the south. Dozens have been killed. There's this false narrative about Palestinian journalists. More than 100 of them have been killed by Israel since the war began. And I take very few positions in the conflicts that we covered. But let this be a position that I take. Journalists, specifically Palestinian journalists, must be protected.
Saying who killed them too? Yeah, straight up. He said Israel has killed more than 100 Palestinian journalists
Amid the war. The Israelis have killed journalists in drone strikes. They've killed them with small arms fire, and it's unacceptable. There are so...
You're playing with fire by playing this video, man? No, it's fine. There wasn't any TOS in it. That is one of the craziest things I saw.
So many...
Okay. Last year, 2 months after the war began, I wrote this in a guest column. We must continue to speak about the important work for our industry colleagues in Gaza. I think it's important to highlight the death toll rising among journalists, as well as the brave Palestinian reporters and the photographers covering this conflict from inside Gaza. They provide a glimpse into the strip, into the suffering, the bloodshed, the agony of civilians there. To Motaz Azaiza, Mohammed Al-Masri, Hind Hudari, and many others. We see and appreciate your coverage. On November 20th, 2023, journalists must be protected. It's actually kind of interesting that he's saying this. He's also literally pro-Israel. Like, he's not, make no mistake. He is pro-IDF, pro-Israel, like, which is why it's crazy. He is one of the few unique voices, I think, in this, where he literally is pro-Israel, but he's also simultaneously pro-news media. You know what I mean? Where he's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, he's a journalist who recognizes first and foremost that, like, his peers are being slaughtered, which is really interesting because you're not even getting this kind of coverage from CNN. I saw a tweet from Mohammed, who actually brought up a really interesting point. He said, the October 7, like, responses. The October 7 anniversary reaction was very muted. I was expecting a lot worse in regards to blind sympathy to Israel. Makes me think that they've lost the general American public more than they realize. And I think it's I mean, I've known this to be true, but I think this is yet another obvious indication. On CBS, sure, they lied about how like Hamas is the one. Hamas is the one who this clip is important too.
Journalist is.
Oh wait, this is the one I saw with TOS in it. Sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. But let me finish this point real quick. So it's wild that it's a hot take for a journalist to be like, it's not cool to kill a journalist just because you don't like what they're reporting. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. That is a fucking hot take, especially from fucking Fox News, dog. Are you kidding me?
Part of our work.
Yeah. Listen. I think that the tide has already shifted. It's changed. No matter how much people try to say, like, oh, look at the polls, like 35% of Americans think Israel maybe not so bad. And then they like point to that to be like, and that's why we have to keep letting them do genocide. When there's like 1,000 polls out there that is screaming bloody murder, they're like, Kamala Harris, you have free votes. You have 1 million free votes if you say we're putting an end to this Israel shit. Okay? And then the media still like grabs whatever they can to massage numbers to make it seem like there is still like a significant amount of support for unleashing Israel upon the entire Muslim world. Okay? I think that they are trying to maintain this echo chamber. They are trying to maintain this echo chamber, but it's not working for the broader public. And that's precisely the reason why you saw CBS Mornings reporting on fucking October 7 and even The Daily cover both sides, which is an unsustainable position 12 months into a genocide, but a position that is still unique nonetheless. Because before October 7, there were no both sides. It was just pro-Israel across the board, unconditionally. And after October 7, they maintained that presence. They maintained that posture quite thoroughly and quite vociferously for quite some time. The fact that the full court press that was supposed to come on October 7 actually kind of fell on deaf ears. And not only that, but also beyond the fact that it was a very muted response, the fact that these media companies started writing articles leading up to October 7 and certainly now after October 7 about how like Benjamin Netanyahu is dog walking Biden, like the fact that it's happening now in this way, when this was supposed to be another big push, to like reaffirm support and undying loyalty to Israel, means that like they've run out of all matter of social capital. I mean, it's kind of hard to still garner sympathy when immediately after that happened, they committed a genocide, and many people that were unaware of the atrocities they've been imposing on Palestinians for years did their research and realized why it happened. Yeah. My professor said Hamas attacked Israel, knowing that Israel would overreact and that this would ruin Israel's reputation, but I feel like I know that's not true. No, this is a common sentiment expressed about Yahya Sinwar, who is incredibly knowledgeable, and this is like Israelis will openly admit this. Yahya Sinwar grew up basically in Israeli prisons for a decade. He learned Hebrew. He read a lot of Israeli material. He actually translated a lot of Israeli books into Arabic. A common theme in Israeli society amongst knowledgeable people is that Yahya Sinwar understands Israeli society better than Israeli society understands Yahya Sinwar. So that right there is not incorrect. The problem is that also means that Israel is this bloodthirsty, monstrous, non-human organism, okay? And it's not. Israel's supposed to be a government comprised of people with their own unique opinions. It is not a fucking natural disaster, right? So Israel had every opportunity not to behave in this barbaric way, in this monstrous way. And if they did so, like even Blinken fucking tweeted about on October 10 after meeting with Hakan Fidan, Turkish foreign minister, Israel must restrain itself and not act in a rash manner, just like Joe Biden said on October 10, I believe, when he said, what happened in Israel is incomprehensible. It's unimaginably violent. It's an atrocity. It's a disaster. But Israel must not repeat the mistakes that America did after 9/11. That's what Joe Biden said on October 10. These motherfuckers are obviously very knowledgeable. They knew what was going to happen. Everyone knew what was going to happen. And then Israel was like, nope, we're going full tilt. We're doing it. Anthony Blinken immediately deleted his tweet calling for restraint. And Joe Biden flew to Israel and bear hugged Netanyahu. The bear hug strategy began. And at no point did America rein in its attack dog. Okay? You don't need to be like this profound prophetic individual to recognize that Israel was going to use October 7 as an opportunity to basically finish its genocidal ambition in Gaza and do as much land grabs as possible in the West Bank. What was truly unique in this process was how many people were made to recognize the atrocities that came before October 7. Okay? If you wanted to maintain Israel as an apartheid state with genocidal ambition, what you should have done in order to mitigate this pariah state status for Israel was to rein it in. Was to rein Israel in, do some targeted strikes, take a couple kills, level a couple blocks like Israel has done before. Time and time again, Israel has conducted military campaigns in a similar fashion. They've done sieges on Gaza before. Many of you had no fucking clue that even happened before October 7. Why? Because that is easier to button up. That's easier to fucking manufacture consent around. But an ongoing active genocidal campaign for 12 months with soldiers themselves directly violating rules of war, openly fucking saying that they're violating the rules of war and loving every moment of it. Obviously people were like, what the fuck? This is insane. Mershar's argument is that they don't want to maintain an apartheid state because they know that is unsustainable. Since they aren't willing to do binationalism or two states and don't want to do an apartheid, the only option remaining is ethnic cleansing. Yes, that's it. That's precisely it. So I don't think your professor is all that wrong in terms of like Yahya Sinwar knowing full well how Israel was going to react. The difference is you can only be correct if Israel proves you right. And a genocidal apartheid nation state that has ritualistically humiliated and subjugated your people for 75 years with full-throated Western support was far too comfortable in conducting its affairs in broad daylight. So Israel proved Yahya Sinwar correct. That's it. They had the opportunity not to do so, but they didn't. And before people say like, oh, well, this is a dangerous gambit, this is a dangerous gamble, in some ways, it's no different than a fucking suicide bomb. What do I mean by this? You only do that when you have no other options, when you have no alternative, when you know that the people that are absolutely destroying you have no care or consideration for your humanity. So instead of killing yourself, which many Palestinians do, incredibly high suicide rate in Palestine and Gaza, you just have one semblance of autonomy where you take life into your own hands for the first time in your life. That's an act of desperation. Many Americans will never understand this because while we also have a very high suicide rate, that act of desperation for Americans stems from, chemical imbalance or a multitude of different reasons because we live in comparable luxury. We live in the lap of luxury in comparison to a Palestinian living in a fucking open air prison. So that's it. Anyway, let's hear what Trey also said.
Part of our work as journalists is covering all angles of the story.
And that means covering the attack on October 7th, risking our lives to get that information out to the world. But it also means covering what's happening to the Palestinian people, the mass killing of civilians, the thousands that have been wounded, the airstrikes that have decimated the Gaza Strip. There are a lot of uncomfortable truths.
You basically just said American depression is fake compared to, getting genocided. I mean, reread what I said and you will understand what I mean. Okay? American depression can be cured with medicine and medical treatment. Palestinian depression is imposed upon them by an apartheid regime that is genociding its population, that's blowing up its fucking city blocks. Not cured, treated. Sorry. I apologize for my ableist language. Okay? That's why there's an entirely different fucking set of standards for child PTSD in Palestine, or the type of PTSD that people experience in Gaza. It's not necessarily that depression is fake. I'm not saying that at all. Comparing trauma never works, dog. Love how your channel thrives when chaos is at its highest. Comparing trauma never works, dog. That's insane, dude. I'm sorry. Okay? But you are out of your fucking mind if you're comparing your material conditions and your living circumstances and the chronic depression that you have to a fucking person in Gaza whose entire life has been subjugation and ritualistic humiliation by an infinitely more powerful military force that is getting unlimited support from the largest nation on the fucking planet. Like, think about it. You can never say this. You would never be able to get away with saying this if the victims were not Arab, okay? Imagine saying that about the Holocaust. Imagine saying that about the fucking Holocaust, about the victims of the Holocaust, about the survivors of the Holocaust. You would never be able to say that. You would never be able to feel comfortable saying that, you Nazi piece of shit. But because the victims are Arab, because they're Palestinian, you feel comfortable being like, comparing trauma never works, dog. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You stupid ass bitch trying to use like emancipatory social justice warrior language in here to fucking woke police. Suck my fucking dick, dumbass. Yes, Americans are unimaginably selfish and unimaginably fucking racist, okay? They cannot see the world outside of their own, in front of their own noses. There's nothing else for them. Imagine using language that is supposed to invoke empathy in an effort to fucking undermine victims of a genocide. Like, that is so psychotic, dude. You are a psychopath. You are the friend who's too woke, okay? Literally. That's incredible. I've talked about this quite a bit, and it bears repeating, okay? A lot of people in these sorts of spaces masquerade as empathetic people. They use emancipatory language. They use psychology terms when all they are doing is being a narcissistic, stubborn little fucking joy killer, annoying piece of shit. And they think the more annoying I am, the more woke I am, the more social justice points I get. Okay? Suck my fucking dick. Go try that shit at a more elementary understanding community of like social justice. Okay? Don't come in here and try to do that fucking shit in here. I'll slap the fuck out of your fucking statement, dumb bitch. Motherfucker thinks he's Tumblr right now. He thinks he can like fucking groom some Discord kittens in here. Bitch. I hate these dumb fucks who straight up use this kind of terminology, like liberals who do this kind of shit. Why doesn't anybody think about me? This genocide of the Palestinians is making me making me feel a certain way. Nobody wants to think about my trauma. Nobody wants to think about my trauma. Don't tell me about Afghanistan. It was Afghanistan every time I heard the door, keys to the door, or whatever the fuck that dumbass tweet is. Excuse me, can we stop talking about boycotting Kellogg's? Can we stop talking about boycotting Kellogg's? I have a food sensory processing disorder that makes it so that I can only eat Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Me, 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 me. That's exactly the type of shit that a lot of like progressive Zionists use too. Excuse me, you're covering a genocide. Excuse me, Palestinians are using a slogan that makes me scared. It's crazy. It's like when people say all lives matter, when people said Black Lives Matter, we knew immediately what the fuck that was. We knew that that was a fucking hog that was trying to deflect away from the main point of contention, basically adding their own version, their own personal understanding, centering their feelings in this conversation when their feelings are irrelevant. Progressives who are otherwise Zionists, progressives except for Palestine, do this shit on a regular fucking basis. We don't allow that in here. You can suck my fucking dick if you think you can get away with this selfish nonsense. Okay? Yeah, in a way, it is no different than civilian disaster relief. Oh, how dare FEMA stop me from saving these people? I need me and the Christian boys, the good old boys in the Christian Rangers Club are going to go and fucking infiltrate the National Guard and figure out where people are putting down their people are putting down toilet paper. I'm gonna do that too. Anyway, let me finish this.
About the conflict. But I'm not here to make people feel comfortable. I'm here to tell them the truth. That's it. Part of our work.
Yeah, the response from Zionists on Twitter to this piece from Trey Yingst, this like moment of courage from him, is literally to be like, lol, you're a joke. You were defending Hamas press before. Tell the difficult, painful truth regarding your honorable profession being hijacked by jihadists donning press vests. It's like, there's something very funny about this where like they're using George W. Bush neocon language in 2024. It's like, yeah, the press is jihadist. They are the jihadist press. It's so funny. That's some serious chutzpah to post this right after accusing Israel of targeting journalists without even acknowledging how often these so-called journalists are actually terrorists in disguise. By leaving that out, you're not reporting the truth. You're distorting it. I know it must be traumatizing to witness the devastation of war, peace through strength, as peaceful consequences. The bully in grade school keeps bullying until Palestinians are paying a terrible price for their hatred of Jews in Israel. But Israel must guarantee their people that atrocities Hamas perpetrated on them can never happen again. I know I would do my best to protect my family from evil. Bro, Deborah, Israel is evil. Israel is the evil organization here, okay? If you think child killing is evil, then Israel has killed a shit ton of children, a fuck ton more than Hamas ever did, okay? You used Israel to write your book so you could then turn around and stab it in the back. Well done. Even the journalists that held hostages or joined Hamas, nobody's going to buy your book, you fucking muppet. Show me a war where civilians were not harmed. Why is Israel held to a different standard? It's great. Screen name, awesome Jew. Handle, @JewsAreTheGoat. Walking Felix bit. I know. Yeah. The truth is important, but you're not telling it objectively. Hamas and their Ministry of Health are liars and complicit for most of the civilian deaths. Journalists like you are why I avoid mainstream media. Dude, I am in awe. I love the idea, personally, of a guy who was like a diehard Israel supporter who's like, mainstream media is not for me. It's like, where are you gonna get the most streamlined pro-Israeli propaganda? If not, like, American mainstream news is unironically to the right of Israeli mainstream news half the fucking time. Because as we've discussed many times over, Israeli press doesn't need to craft this like delicate balance in its broad readership that might go, ooh, that's a bit too much. That's a little bit too much killing of innocent civilians for me. They're fucking thirsty for that shit. So obviously, Israeli news media does better, more honest reporting about the fucking situation inside of Israel and inside of Gaza half the fucking time than American news. Because Western press straight up has the other side of the story where they have to like play a tightrope they know the audience, if they offer accurate and objective reporting on the matter, their audience is going to become rabid Israel haters. Breaking: Milton hurricane is expected to wipe out the headquarters of the U.S. Central Command MacDill Force Base in Florida, where most of the aircraft supporting the Israeli occupation depart from this base to Iraq, Syria, Cyprus, the Gulf, and Turkey. They already moved the airplanes, unfortunately, for the record, just so you know. They literally have, yeah, I'm hearing, wait, hold on. I'm hearing from on the ground real-time reporting that Hurricane Milton has said the Shahada and is firmly and committed to the emancipatory struggle of the Palestinian people. Hurricane Milton is saying, we will dismantle the Zionist entity piece by piece. What? Muhammad Milton. Oh, shit. Dude, how much... is really funny to think that, like, you know how a lot of Zionists will say, like, they will take so much of the anti-Semitic conspiracies and just, like, swap Jew for, Hamas or Iran. Like, they'll straight up be like, Iran controls the media. Hamas is paying these campus protesters to protest against Israel. Like, they're about to be like, not Jewish weather machines, sweetie. Actually, Hamas weather machines. They're like, it wasn't. Many people have falsely smeared Jews and said it's Jewish space machines or Jewish space lasers and Jewish weather control machines. It's actually Hamas weather control machines and Iranian weather control machines. Pneumatics, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Hurricane Milton. Hamas hurricane. Terror. It is a hurricane. It is a hurricane doing terror. They got pilots at that base.
There's a hurricane, so we need to move our aircraft to the other side of the state. It's going to take us 2 days to do this. 2 days, 2 lifts, 5 aircraft each lift. This is the first lift of 5 aircraft on the first day going out. I'm on lift number 2. Once we drop our aircraft off, we all hop in the back of a Black Hawk and we ride back to get the rest. I'm going to tell you a secret. Army helicopter pilots hate being in the back of the aircraft, especially when we're going through the clouds. 6 a.m. showtime on day 2 to move the last ones. I'm on the early lift today. Today should go pretty quick. This one is the one I'm taking. We do a brief talk about how we're going to do this done. Everybody goes out and pre-flights their aircraft, and everybody's ready to take off by 8 o'clock. It's kind of cool seeing you and all the boys getting ready to go. We're getting ready to confuse the hell out of air traffic control, because technically we're not multi-ship. Each aircraft has their own flight plan, but we're trying to head in the same direction at almost the same time. We stagger our takeoffs by about 30 seconds. That way we're flying same way, same day, and we land at about the same time, but we're not causing too much chaos. The good part about today is Army airplane... Good morning, Tampa. Army airplane boys are supposed to come pick us up as soon as we land, so we shouldn't have that much time on the ground waiting to come back. Flying at 500 feet with the boys across the state is probably one of the best parts of the job. We land, we tie these aircraft up because hopefully the hurricane doesn't do too much damage over here, and the Air Force gives us a ride to the terminal. It's not too long before...
Should he be documenting this? Dog, what are we talking about? They're in the United States of America. They don't give a fuck. What do you mean, OPSEC chat? This is the most powerful nation on earth. What's going to happen? A Chinese weather balloon is going to fucking hit the helicopters? First of all, even if they wiped out the entire fucking fleet, okay, whether because of the hurricane or whether, a Chinese weather balloon hit them or something, that's not even going to put a fucking dent in America's military, okay? Like, he's not really saying anything that's, like, super secretive or super classified anyway. But beyond that, yeah, they can absolutely fucking show this with ease. Like, who's gonna do anything about it?
Long before the Army fixed-wing guys lands to pick us up to take us back to base. Everyone's always asking, does the Army have airplane pilots? Yes, we do. This is them. And their job is to kind of support however they're needed. A lot of times it's VIP, but sometimes missions like this is a good change it pays for them. We call them C-12s, but the civilian version is called a King Air. Not gonna lie, they're nice. Usually after you've done your time flying helicopters and beating the crap out of your back, you hop over and you fly C-12s. We're trying to get into Tampa. Everyone else is trying to get out. It's a quick 30-minute flight and we're pretty much back at the base. This steep approach angle is pretty interesting. And it's a little bumpy on the way in. I lied. It's a lot of bumpy on the way in. Once we land, these guys will drop us off, drop our gear off. They'll take back off and get out of here too. It's a long day for us.
Chad doesn't realize we have complete and total control of the airspace on this entire half of the planet. Yeah. Yeah, you can have American. There's a reason why you can put American military bases on Google Maps, okay? Ain't nobody's touching them. Like, I don't know if you know this, but part of the reason for American dominance is the fact that we are so far removed from any serious enemy.
For us, a long day for them, but it would be even longer day for us if they didn't show up. Look at the ramp, how empty this thing is. Once a year, during hurricane season, the ramp gets this empty. The boys dropped us off, now they're turning and burning back to their base.
They're like Johnny Dang. Louis Vuitton no umbrella when I walk through the rain in the kitchen whipping chicken kind of bread like kind.
This is also very well edited, so I suspect he's like not just like a regular fucking he's not a regular helicopter pilot. I suspect he does like PR for the military. Yeah, little bit of psyops. Your American exceptionalism is showing, bro. What? This isn't American exceptionalism. It's just fucking reality. I'm not saying it's a good thing or anything like that. I'm simply stating what is objective reality. That's crazy. Yeah, this is imperial dominance, Shatter. We're a hyper-violent and well-armed state. Low-key, half the reason why we don't have healthcare. You know what I mean? Like, that is the reason why we don't have healthcare, literally. Anyway, that's it for today for me. It's the last 3-minute ad break I'm running here. Wait until Moldova gets a hold of this TikTok. Yeah, Moldova's gonna invade. All right, folks. That's it. Adios for today. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna do Hurricane Watch, obviously. Tomorrow.
All the shadows trickling in has helped people hate. Sunny Los Angeles, California.
Anyway.
Says Hassan.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Starlock to the starlock to the topic just begun. There he is again, Hassan is streaming. Hassan is